How is it going? I think it should be live now. Got the music playing. Thank you, everyone who's here. I have not been making videos recently. So my concurrent viewers are not as much as it used to be, but not too bad. I think I just finished up my exams and stuff, so hopefully now I'll have more time to make videos. I'm thinking, oh shit, Burb's here. I think now that I'm done with school, right? I can. I'm gonna do this live stream. I'm gonna take sections from the live stream, make them into videos themselves, do some editing, whatnot. Then I'm gonna make actual videos. Even though I'm doing a like a recap video right now, I'm not gonna be diving too far into crew. I'm gonna talk about crew because of course we gotta talk about crew. But I think that I want to make a full video on crew, like a full like research, like edited, because I've been a fan of crew since like I've like known crew's been pretty good for a bit, and I'm like, oh, I love crew. The crew's so cool, but like they're not gonna do well. Like they're not gonna like break the glass ceiling of like NA versus EU, and very clearly they did. They're so good. We'll talk about them in a bit though. But what we're gonna talk about today, we're gonna go over champions. Then we're gonna go over the best teams, the top 10 teams of 2021, and then we're gonna go over some of the best teams from, or some of the teams you should look out for in 2022. Actual videos, I know, Carter. Instead of these live streams, I like doing these live streams because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the time when I do videos, they're very like unscripted and off the cuff. I don't like put a lot when I'm making like quick videos where I like there's like a new topic I want to talk about, like something like news related happens. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna like I'll write down some jot notes and I'll just talk about it. But I'm like, at this point, I'm just like chilling anyways, writing shit. So I'm like, I might as well just like do it live, have the PowerPoint jot notes anyways, and we're booling. Let me. Bum, 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 bum. I guess it's live, so that if you guys want to hop in and chat, great way to do so. Hopefully, I'm like it's almost the end of the year. Going into next year, already, some of my classes are online, right? And my university canceled the first month of classes, of in-person classes, to put them online. So until the 31st, I'm online, which also means I'll have more time to edit. So I'm like, I'm gonna do the best I can to edit over the next little bit. And yeah, all right. Let me just fix my music. What music should I put on? Yeah, I really like, really just. All right, let me put this on. All right, actually, it's kind of like sleeper music. Hold on. Oh my god, Breezy IRL. Oh my god, big fan of yours. I was just complaining about school. Bam, boom, bam, bam. Yeah, I should have thought this beforehand. Yes, music? I just have a bunch of playlists of music. None of which necessarily great for this type of thing. I'll put on this. Which I'm you more. Get this. Alright. Champions. We've all watched it. We all loved it. Pretty good. Let's go into some of the details. What I've decided to do. Actually, before we get into that, here is the results, the bracket. This was winner's side. I made videos on group stages. Group stages, pretty crazy. Honestly, more crazier than this, except for crew and Gambit. I think winner's side, like the top side of bracket, you had Ascend and Liquid kind of clean up, and then you had Ascend clean up Liquid. It's pretty easy, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. But on the bottom side, you had Gambit versus X10. X10 taking a game. I think like the first game. But then they got absolutely fucking dominated. They got dummied. And Crew beat Fnatic. Fnatic taking first seed in their pool. Beating Cloud9 Blue and beating Vision Strikers. And looking pretty dominant. And so I was like, damn, like, do we underestimate Crew? And then, do we underestimate Fnatic? But then Crew slapped them up 2-1. And another, like, pretty crazy upset. Like, no one saw that coming. And they go to play Gambit. Even I was like, come on, they can't beat Gambit. And it was so close. What was it? Like, quintuple overtime? Like, septuple overtime? Like, it was 18-16 for Gambit in map 3. Crew did an amazing job in the tournament. Tying third overall with Liquid. And only losing to Gambit, who is very, very good. For a team that had never beaten a North American or EU team before, like mostly relegated to the best of the rest, for them to take so many names and to almost make it to grand finals in the biggest tournament of the year, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy from them. Gambit went on to play Ascend, in which Ascend won, which, like, it was really close. I thought Gambit had it when they had their Icebox match. But when Ascend won that, I was like, damn. Oh, shit, Quaid's here, too? I love that. But they won their match against Gambit and Ascend, winning the tournament. Does that make them the best team in the world? It's very messy. El Diablo, I know. Dude, literally, when your only NA representative is Cloud9, it's like, damn. Like, what's going on here? This is League of Legends 2 again. We'll go into that. And so, the way I'm going to talk about Champions is I've broken it down into 3 stories that I want to talk about, right? There's definitely way more stories that I will talk about, or I want to talk about and will talk about in the next upcoming, like, few days or videos or things, content pieces I make. So, first thing I want to talk about is actually what happened between NA versus EU. Because I'm not going to lie, Elendo, what's up? Yeah, NA versus EU was looking like a very, very tight battle, right? Everyone was like, oh shit, who's gonna win? NA is pretty good, like, EU's also pretty good, and they go into the first Masters 2 event, the first international LAN. And North America kind of, like, I don't want to say slaps them up, but it was looking real good, right? You had Sentinels, clear winners, didn't drop a game the whole tournament. They never played Liquid, but they beat Fnatic 3-0. Version 1 beat Liquid, and then Fnatic beat Version 1. Oh, jeez. But, it was close, but again, Version 1 really wasn't really considered, like, one of the best from North America. They literally, like, shot up in just that Challengers 2. So for them to do that well against, like, assumably EU's best, which, like, kind of is, kind of isn't, we'll go back to that. It was looking like NA had the scales tipped to their side, right? Then when you go into Berlin, the next tournament, right? It's looking not as good, right? You look at it and you're like, oh shit. Like, Sentinels fell out early. Envy, second place, not bad. 100 Thieves, what the fuck is this? Banger. You had Sentinels in 5th place. You had Envy in 2nd place. 100 Thieves in 3rd place. Gambit 1st. Ascend 5th. Massive Blade 9th. G2 3rd. Now, in terms of actual head-to-heads, V1 fell off without Vanity. I know, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Vanity, I'll talk about Cloud9 and Vanity a little bit later, but I think Vanity is one of the best IGLs in North America for sure. He's like almost top 2, top 3, probably. Anyways, so Masters 3 Berlin, we have to dissect it even closer, because again, this is that sort of, they're almost on level playing field, because you have Gambit who won, awesome. And you had Sentinels, who was previously number 1, 5th, bottom, only doing worse than Supermassive Blaze, losing to Envy. But then you look at you look at the head-to-heads, right? You had 100 Thieves dummy up Ascend. They beat Gambit, the presumably 2 top teams of EU. Then G2 beat Sentinels. It's like it's everyone's trading each other out. And so I think that, I don't know, after Masters 3, I was kind of like, all right, the scales are kind of back even. Whatever happens in Champions is gonna like determine who's like the next top, right? Then we got the Champions, man. Then we got the Champions. And EU proved themselves at the Champions. And it wasn't even just like they had a couple of good teams that did well. They looked like clear and ahead the best region, the best teams. Even though, for sure, Envy didn't have a good day there. Sentinels didn't have a good day there. Cloud9 and Blue had a pretty good day there, I'm not gonna lie. And so did Fnatic. But I think that, like, just the pure dominance of their team, Gambit honestly didn't look very good during the first, like, 3 days of the tournament, and even, like, the first, like, few days. All their matches were playing against, like, not the best teams, and they were going down to the wire. But Gambit stayed in there, clutched up, and they did what they had to do. Same with Ascend. Same with Liquid. I think Liquid struggled on their match, but we'll get to that later. 4-0 in the head-to-head, right? God damn. That's fucked up. And so I'm like, all right, we have to really reconsider how we look at this NA versus EU battle. Of course, this is just one tournament, but this is the tournament you have to prove yourself for. So I think EU doing so well really, like, I think EU is the best region in the world, for sure, by far. I think there's a gap, not just because they did well in this tournament, they did well last tournament, but I think the quality of teams in EU are higher on average. I think North America has some great teams, right? They have Sentinels, who I still rate incredibly highly, despite their like piss poor performance. They still got it down to the wire against Liquid, right? Who Liquid was looking absurdly good. It was what, like game 3, like last rounds, and they lost it. So I'm like, even so, I think that Sentinels is like still a very, very high rated team. But like even their like North America's second best Envy's, like they did well last tournament, but like they didn't play well this tournament and they got shat on. Cloud9 Blue, they're got the new fit, like fresh fade up, so they're kind of looking good, but we'll see how they do in the future. We'll talk about that later again. Other than that, like North America has 100 Thieves, who just dropped half their roster. Xset, who's looking pretty good, but couldn't close it out against like other people. And a lot of North America is kind of like not as consistent as like the top EMEA teams. You have Gambit, you have Ascend, you have Liquid, you have Fnatic, you have G2, you have Big, you have Navi, who's pretty good, but they're dropping players. I think like on average, the higher EU team, or the EU have better teams on average in North America. Ergo, EU is better. And I'll actually go into that more with the second story I'm going to talk about here. The regional rankings. These are my personal regional rankings of how I rank the major regions, at least. I didn't really touch on Oceania, or I also combine EU and CIS. I know a lot of people differentiate them, but I put them on the same caliber anyways. The main regions that competed at Champions this year, and hopefully we'll be able to break it down later, but what I have is I have EU, of course, cut above the rest. Then the next category, I was talking to my Discord about this a little bit more. There's like a bigger breakdown between how this all works. I think that I have an A+ tier. I'll explain why it's in this sort of A+, A- and nothing else is. A+, North America, SEA, and A-, LATAM, Korea. This is because I think that NA and SEA have a very similar style of good team. I don't think they're on the same caliber as EU, especially with Zom's better than Brazil. Kind of true though, but also kind of not true because they did muster out very early. They actually, no Brazilian teams actually got in, so Zom is better than Brazil. But anyways, I rate SEA so highly because I think they have they have about the same average level as North America, if that makes any sense. Their average team is at the same level as North America. Because like North American teams, who do you have, right? if you had 100 Thieves, Sentinels, Envy, Cloud9 Blue, Xset, all competing at like top levels, then they'd be in the same as EU. But every like showing, we've had teams that just have not been good or have not been like performing to their best, right? I think SEA definitely outperformed this tournament, and like whether it's going to stay for next year is questionable. I don't think NA has fallen off that hard. Maybe that's just the NA copium, but like SEA overall did a good job with X10 and with oh shit, who's the other team? Secret and X10, both making it to bracket, which cannot be said by Sentinels or Envy, even though they did have each respectively had like hard brackets to get in. But like Envy lost to Team Secret, I think, or X10. They lost to X10, right? I was like, god damn, kind of fucked up. So I'm thinking that let me pull it up actually. Go over. Team Secret beat Vikings and Crazy Raccoons, losing to Gambit, understandable. X10 beat Envy, beat Vivo Keyed, and made it a bracket, losing to Gambit 2-1. That's pretty good. I think SEA has, I don't know, their teams, it's really hard to describe how their teams work and what makes them so special. But it works, so I mean, like, hey, power to them. As for putting LATAM and Korea A-, I put them a little bit lower, even though I do think Crew and Vision Strikers are better than some of the respective NA and SEA teams. I think that just having them as the dominating force in their region doesn't necessarily make them like the best region, but it definitely gives them an era of, right, gives them like a, what's the word? Give them like some benefit of the doubt, right? Because I guess we haven't really seen the number 2 LATAM team, like a Strauss play. I kind of want to see a Strauss play a lot internationally. They just lost to Furia. But I'm going to count with LATAM, Brazil as well. Like, LATAM is going to include all of Latin America, but Brazil is just going to include Brazil, if that makes any sense. Because I think that other Latin American teams, like Chilean teams, Astral's Crew, are very, very good. I think they are better than just the Brazilian teams, but we'll see how that works in the future. But Crew's very good, Vision Strikers very good, but having one leader of a region, I think doesn't mean that the region's good. But I also think that they are still better than Brazil and Japan. Brazil's in B tier, so B, Brazil, of course. Are you counting the entirety of EMEA with EU? Yes. I was gonna say I was thinking about separating CIS and EU, but I'm like, we haven't really seen any other CIS teams play except for Navi. And I'm like, I'm just gonna count EU with the entire EMEA. Which, like, yeah, I'm just gonna count as EMEA. But, because we have, like, Anubis, and we have, like, I don't know, because EMEA's, what is it? It's Europe, Middle East, and Africa, which is, like, a pretty big region. But, I don't know, I think that EU, CIS, at least at this point, is kind of sort of interchangeable, I'm not gonna lie. I know some people have, like, some choice words about that, but I don't know, I usually count Gambit as CIS, but I'm gonna count them as EU just for this case. Same way I count Latin America includes Brazil, but Brazil doesn't include Latin America in a weird way. But I'm gonna continue. Brazil, they had like an almost good performance. I think their teams, they're not the worst region because they're better than Japan, but Brazil definitely needs some work. Even with their super team Vivo Keyed, they couldn't top off the best teams. They almost beat Ascend. And like whether I forgot about that, where Vivo Keyed was using the glitch cam and then they replayed the match and they lost. I don't know, that's kind of funny. But Brazil outside of that has not had a crazy great performance, even with like putting their best players on the best teams, right? I think they can make it to the next level because they do have some real good players. I think they need to work on strategy a lot. I think if if other teams were to play like Crew, I think Crew kind of proved that if you play right, you don't need to necessarily have a crazy good player, and which they actually do have a crazy good player. That's kind of what set them over. But the foundation of having a strong team game is just as strong or stronger than just having good players. And in C, I put Japan. Or Japan. Japan got its own ass region. Japan, I'll talk about that in a second. Japan got its own ass region. And they're not very good. They don't have like a big foundation in like shooter games. And like, sure, they have some good players. Munchkin, Fisker. Munchkin's actually Korean, I'm pretty sure. But Fisker's pretty good. They just like, it's like watching like, I don't know, they're just very clearly not at the same, playing at the same level. And sure, Crazy Raccoons had its moments. Took a game off Gambit, but not great. Munchkin just left Crazy Raccoons. Crazy Raccoons was the de facto best Japanese team, and even he was like, "Yo, this is not this is not chilling. Like this is I need to like look for new options and try to get better." So like, and even Norception did well in the close bracket, the APAC close bracket, but couldn't top it off. I don't know. Japan really needs some work. Hopefully they'll, I don't know. Japan, I feel like, especially in like fighting games, is always willing to come back around. Quick aside, in Super Smash Bros. Melee right now, who's like a notoriously hard game. This kid just rolled up. He started playing like last year, August 2020, and he qualified for one of the biggest tournaments in the world. Got flued out in Gen. Got flued out, and he almost beat Magi, who's like a top 25 player. This guy's been playing for a year. It used to be like the status quo that you had to play for like 4 years minimum to get to that level of like being able to compete against the top 100, just because it's like the way the game is played. But with more access to playing games, he just grinded it out, I guess. So I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. But I think that like the Japanese region can definitely improve. I don't know if they can hop up to EU levels or even like A levels, but they can bump up to like Brazilian levels. I think they're on their way there. As for you asking about the glitch cam to run, glitch cam, using the glitch cam I think should be banned. Of course, I think like it's not a great thing. How Valorant handled it was kind of dumb, where they're like, well, they used it on 6 rounds, or I'm not sure if they used it on 6 rounds or they won on 6 rounds where they used it. I'll have to double check that. But they're like, oh, they used it on, they got flued out. Thank you, Michael. They used it on 6 rounds, and then they're like, 6 rounds plus the economy damage rating for a 7th round, therefore they win. That was like such a dumb argument. And then they reverted it up again. Did they play the last match? They should have just played the last match from the beginning, saying, start playing from half or maybe give them a couple rounds. I think giving them 7 rounds is a little weird. But that's the game, I think. I think that Riot did their best they could. I'm glad they didn't just stick with their original answer. But I think that it's definitely getting better now. Amza is the Yoshi. And Amza's like the best player in Japan. And one of the best players in the world. I think he's probably, I want to guess he's like top 5 in North America. Or like top 5 in the world. But there's no other top 100 players in Japan. He literally, his practice partner plays every single other character. That's who he practices against. So Amza just cracked like that. And so this guy in Gen, him doing so well out of nowhere, it's like, holy fuck. I like this. I like that a lot. Anyways, that is the second story. On to the final story which I want to talk about. Boom. Who is the best player of the tournament? Which actually, I'm going to get back to that one. I meant to go start with this one. I've picked 4 players from this tournament who did so insanely well. And I think that they're not the typical people you think of. I think Scream did very well. I think Tens did all right. I think Ye did all right. But I think these 4 players like made the difference in their matches. So first, talk about Leaf. Leaf from Cloud9 Blue. Leaf came in. They ended up, Cloud9 Blue placed 5th, lost in the first round to Liquid. But Leaf really proved himself that he's going to be one of the best players in the world in like the next year or two. I think 2020, I'm not gonna lie, is like the year of the Leaf, because Leaf is good. I'm gonna pull up some of his stats from the tournament. That shit was bussin', not gonna lie. Can't believe I just said that. Where is it? Screen? There we go. I gotta remove that off. But Cloud9 placed 5th, losing to Liquid. Lost to Fnatic, but beat Vision Strikers in full sense. Let's look at their matches though. Look at Fnatic, right? 2-1. This is the match where Leaf got bodied by Durka. Because this happens, Leaf has high highs and low lows. And so I think this is a low low for Leaf. Even though he didn't do like terribly, he did get reverse -12, -10. That just means he literally just got outfragged by Durka. That just means that's more of like a good for Durka, bad for Leaf. But that's Leaf at his worst, is that he's still second frag on his team. Or in terms of ACS at least. Let's look at the matches they won now. Against Full Sense, what happened? Boom. Leaf, +15, +5, top frag. Killed the game as Sky, killed the game as Jet. His Jet, insane. You look at their match against Vision Strikers, the double-double. He got in ± in first kill, first deaths, and also actual kills and deaths, which is insanely hard to do in like best of threes at any level, right? So for him to do it against one of the best teams in the world, Vision Strikers, insane stuff from Leaf. I think the rest of Cloud9 Blues also lends himself to like helping him, but Leaf can make the difference. In his match against Team Liquid, look, again, +17, +7 first kill, first deaths, only matched by Scream himself. This kid's like got a lot of stuff to his name. So he's on his way up, but I think that like, you know, he has some work to do because he still has some shit games. But ups and downs. I gotta pull this back up for a second. It's gonna be such a scuff. I only have one monitor, so it looks like that. Next, Kesnet. Kesnet, I'm not gonna lie, I was not a Kesnet believer going into the tournament. People were like, Kesnet's the next symbol. I thought that was like a meme or something. He joined crew just before the beginning of the tournament, and he did well. I'll tell you, he did well. Crew before, I think, didn't have like a star player. They had like, they were more known for their really good teamwork. But with the introduction of Kesnet onto their roster, it kind of popped off. Let's go over again their stuff. Crew. Wait, actually, they played Team Liquid first. Or no. They did play Team Liquid first, yeah. Yeah, at first I was like, Kesnet kind of getting dummied. Like, Mazino's pretty good, Nag's pretty good. Their whole team's pretty good, but I was like, Kesnet did alright. Then you go to the next match. Furia. Alright, not bad. Kesnet, sure, he dropped 22. But it was like, it's Furia. They kind of shot the bed over here. Then you go Sentinels. In their game against Sentinels, Kesnet overall outfrags in terms of first kill, first deaths. Not bad against one of the best teams in the world. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure, yeah. In their game against Split, he is the reason why they won. He had so many clutches. He was the closer against Sentinels, who's usually like, you know, it's a very, very good team. Then you go to their next match against Fnatic. And you're like, holy balls. +23, +7. His whole team definitely struggled against Fnatic, but he just fucking kept chugging along. Top frag. Oh, no, he didn't top frag. The only game where Delzik did better in Haven, they won. Easy. Icebox, he got a 6K. I don't even know what the fuck happened there. And of course, closed it out against them on Split. Cleaned them up. It's not only him that won them these matches, but he is like a very strong fragger on the team and definitely made the big difference. Him and Klaus, I think. Finally, against Gambit, again, Kesnet, staying up there with the kill, 62-63, not bad. Overall, Kesnet, pretty good. I wouldn't say he's the next coming of Christ himself, but I'm saying he plays a video game pretty well. Next, Chronicle. Chronicle from... Do you have any good impressions of any Valorant players or commentators? Michael, you don't watch Valorant. I know this. Hey, my name's Chronicle. That's my Chronicle impression. Michael, I want to hear your best Valorant player or commentator impression next time I see you. Anyways, Chronicle. This guy made the difference for Gambit, because again, Gambit struggled a lot through this tournament. Every single game they played it came down to the last game. Like every single game they played. They even had the easy bracket against Secret Vikings and someone else. Secret Vikings and I can't remember. Some other team. But Gambit looked like they had it easy. And they still went 2-1 on the line every single time in the matches. But Chronicle was the one who anchored them. Usually last year it was Nats that was the big difference maker. And this time it was Chronicle. I think at the beginning of the tournament he was doing all right. Watching him. Plus 12, not bad. 13 him there. Plus 4. Nats keeping it easy. We're used to seeing Nats doing the damage. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Crazy Work was the last one. Chronicle kept him in there, I think. This one was Defo, Shados. They're doing well, they're doing well, they're doing well. But when they got into the actual playoff brackets, these were supposed to kick in, right? The Chronicle difference. Plus 16 overall, right? Gambit won map 3. Defo, Shados, cool. Sent. XM won that. Chronicle, only one doing all right. Then Breeze, Chronicle, plus 10 overall. Definitely helped them win that one. Chronicle really kicked into gear when they were against Crew. Literally, look at this, look at this, look at this. Look at this. Minus 11 from Shados. Minus 4 from Nats, who we usually are known for doing well. Chronicle, plus 23, plus 8. They crushed Breeze, of course, because they have a really good Breeze. Insane Breeze. Chronicle, killed it. Ascent, did well, but Crew took that one. Bind. Chronicle literally won them the game. He clutched up so many times. So many times. When you go to this many overtimes, I think you have to the clutchness from Chronicle, and also Nats doing a good job anchoring. Nats is usually the anchor for the team, but I think in this tournament Chronicle took it over. And finally Chronicle had a great performance in Grands as well, right? Nats definitely stepped it back up. He was struggling the whole tournament. Picked it up in the last game against Crew, but again did well in this. But holy, Chronicle really being the difference maker in some of these matches, right? I think it was this one. In this Icebox game, he was the only one keeping him alive, man. Defo did well, but Redgar struggled. Everyone's had a poor performance in this tournament out of Defo, Nats, Redgar, Shados. But Chronicle's the one dude who just kept it in, being all right, boys. He was the actual anchor for the team. That's what I'm saying. He was one of the big difference makers for the tournament. I think Envy needs a change. I don't know. I think Envy does need a change. But with who, right? I think there's some there's some good players. There's some good players, but just not on the market in North America. I'd be hard pressed to figure out who they would replace some of these players for. Marved, I think, is really good. I think Ye is really good. Maybe FNS. Oh man, if Envy were to pick up Steel instead of him going to T1, that would have been crazy. I think that would have been nuts. But I think FNS is pretty good. He lurks too much. I think they need to work on some of their strategies, really reinvent themselves. And maybe... Who am I missing? Not BCJ. Crashies. Maybe they replace Crashies with someone? I don't even know. It's hard it's hard to figure it out. I think Envy's gonna have a tough time because like they're good, but they're not the best. They do have one of the best players in the world, so they'll have to figure that out. Here's my Sinatra impression. Hey, it's me, J1, but on Sinatra. I love playing Valorant for Sentinels. Michael, not a great player to pick if you don't know why. Sinatra's not on Sentinels anymore for a very understandable reason. Who do you think 100 Thieves should pick up? 100 Thieves dropped the bag. I literally had written a script about why 100 Thieves is doing everything right. Right up until they dropped Steel. Because they were like, alright, here's our team. Victor. Oh yeah, they can definitely pick up a better player than Victor. I think Victor's good, but I'm like, he's not the same level. Maybe if they would pick up like 7. 7's pretty good. Or like another one of those young... They need a young dude on their team. They need like the token young guy. Maybe Bang. They just need some spry young dude who can like do well, but sometimes shit to the bag, but like is like overall like will go on to be the Envy guy alongside Ye. But I think that 100 Thieves dropped the bag by dropping Steel and then losing Nitro. And then they, I don't know, I feel like they could lose Ethan maybe. Because like all his CSGO homies are leaving. Maybe like Hiko gets old and they're just stuck with Asuna. And I'm like, I love, Asuna's insanely good, but I'm like, goddamn. I think that, I don't know. I don't know what 100 Thieves should do. But I'm like, I think that 100 Thieves will end up doing the right thing because keep in mind, look at their team that they built. They had a shit-ass team. They had a shitter-ass team with Hiko and a bunch of other guys. And they're like, fuck, we need to rebuild. Got Asuna, got Nitro, got Steel. And I forgot what the last one was. Dicey? Yeah, I had Dicey. Dicey's pretty good. And they won First Strike. And then the team was good enough to compete with the best teams in Berlin. And they lost 7-2. But losing so many dudes is tough. They need to rebuild like 3 positions plus backups. I don't even know why they lost 7. I don't know what's going on with that team. I think there's like some back-end stuff that's like the reason why people are leaving. That's why Steel left. That's why Nitro left. Beyond just like, oh, you know, I don't like the game as much. I think like maybe, I feel like something was going down with like the management or something. Because 7 leaving too, after he was just signed, like 7's really good. And like I feel like 100 Thieves would pay him well, would teach him well. Don't know why he left. Oh, 7's joining T1 with Steel? Interesting. Interesting. T1, I was going to talk about teams to look out for. I don't know if I'm going to do in this live stream or not because I didn't make any graphics for it. But I think that T1 is going to look very good next year. Very, very good next year. But, yeah. I don't know what T1 should, I don't know what 100 Thieves should do. I'm really hard pressed because a lot of the good players are getting sniped up already. Maybe like Gangsta, he's available. Maybe he joins NG. We'll see. I don't know. Let me finish up with his best players. All right. The last best player I want to talk about is Strixo. I don't know how to actually pronounce his name. I say Strixo. He was looking very good this tournament. At first, I was like, CNED. Ascend's win condition for winning this tournament was not having to rely on CNED for everything. Because leading up to this tournament, they were relying on CNED for everything. Like, really hard. But I think a lot of players stepped it up on Ascend, the most of which being Strixo. Let's go over his stats real quick. Ascend. Yeah, here we go. Beep. Okay. I'll start off with... I'm going to stay away from this Keystart game. Their match against Envy. They beat Envy 2-0. Zeke doing very well. Cena doing very well. Heles, Strixo, Bone Cold. But I'm like, you can already tell immediately. Zeke's been like one of the top players on their team. Alongside CNED. But he's like very up and down. And even this, I was like, classic Strixo maneuver. But still, +6 overall. That's pretty good. Then you go to their next match, right? They've got a bracket. Here we go. Team Secret. Again, Strixo not doing great. And I was like, okay. This is not the stats I wanted to see. But CNED killing it, double-double, not bad. But when the matches started to matter, Team Liquid, who was this on top? Team Liquid was one of the favorite going in. Probably like them or Sentinels, maybe Gambit. Ascend was not, in my mind, not really looking as the team that was like looking to take it. But with this absolutely dominant performance, that's pretty good. Second frag on Bind, top frag on Split, top frag on there's no Ascent. Still, cleaning them up, cleaning up house. Scream, again, still looking like one of the best players in the world. But Strixo being able to compete with that, dropping plus minus a Split, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Finally, their match against Gambit. This is where he came into play. I think a lot of players stepped it up in this match against Gambit, and that's what won them the things over Killis. I don't think Killis is very good, not gonna lie. Not bad. Bone Cold, nice job, but Strixo right up there. Fracture, Strixo doing his best to keep it in there, but it's kind of a wash. Icebox. Now, Zeke stepped it up on this map specifically, but Strixo right up next to him. I think their constant performance of like keeping up with the ability of CNED is what like lent them to win the next game, right? CNED again came in strong, but Strixo right on side him. I think CNED, there's a couple games I can't really point out where that CNED was just dropping, and I think that that's when these other players really stepped it up and won them the matches they needed to win. Kind of showing that just CNED isn't the best player on that team, right? Overall, pretty good tournament from the Ascend boys. Starkso. Really Starkso? I always thought it's Strixo. Starkso. Yeah, I've been saying, I'm just looking at a chat now. You're just saying Starkso everywhere. But Strixo sounds so much cooler. Sounds like fucking. Anyways. Sorry for being late. IMO Envy should go with an Orgless NA CSGO team. Sabrosa, Wardell FNS Affinity. Please Wardell with Shazam. I can't tell if there's like a copy pasta, but I don't know. I think Envy is doing all right, but they definitely need to make like 1 or 2 changes to really get better. I think NA Tier 1 needs to join smaller tournaments. Yes, that is one of the videos I want to talk about and make, because I think that they're really, really making a big mistake not doing that. And it goes to show. I don't know, I do some data crunching and shit. As the Valorant scene continues to grow and drive in more money and popularity, what changes? Michael, fuck you. What changes do you need to make for it to grow even more? Michael, I know you're not a big esports guy, but I think if anyone were to make a good, viable esports scene, it would be Riot Games, who make Valorant, right? If you don't know, CSGO is the parent game to Valorant, tactical shooter, and is also the biggest esport in the world. It's one of, if not the biggest esport in the world, mostly because it's especially in Europe, I think, it's the biggest esport. It's become like an almost like footballian event, where like when the major happens, everyone is watching. Like I saw when Gambit, the Russian team, went on to win. Holy, I saw so many like people out of nowhere come and being like, "Let's go!" Like it was like, I think the president of Lithuania or the president of Latvia or something was like congratulating them. Like porn stars were coming through like, "Yo, good job for the boys." Some crazy shit. I think that Valorant, and the thing is that CSGO has grown to that height where they have like hundreds of thousands, almost millions of viewers on some of their biggest tournaments, with little to no developer support. So Valorant doing that with developer support, and already, was it Putin? Oh, I'm thinking of no Putin. I'm thinking of Dota actually. Dota, Putin congratulated the winners of the Dota. But yeah, no, somebody congratulated them. Anyways, I think that having such a good base, but also a a game creator that wants to design a good esports scene will build the game up, because they're doing things in the game that's helping the scene, like for the scene, helping the scene. They're doing things worldwide to literally expand it, including they literally just want more people to play the game and more people to play and enjoy the game. The same way that League of Legends every year everyone has that like kick where they're like, I'll re-download League of Legends, because it's so like ingrained that you're like, ah, that's a good game. Anyways, hello, Clusterman. That is it for Valorant Champions. I kind of went on some tangents, but we capped it off. I think that overall the tournament was pretty good. I think that with all of NA teams losing out, except for Cloud9 Blue, who they lost in the first round, was really tough for an NA fan. But I think that the storylines of Crew and Gambit really helped for the whole tournament. Whereas like Crew was just going on this dangerous run. The Latin American boys, fucking literally. There's videos of just like crowds of people within that giant ass Crew stadium in Chile, and just thousands of people just standing around, fucking cheering on these boys. That's so sick. I love seeing things like that, because it really adds like to the depth of the game more than just like, oh, it's North America and EU. Which if all the teams were to make it from North America and EU as projected, you would have had one other person, which would have just been, I don't know, probably Vision Strikers. So it's really great to see them. Overall, good tournament. Happy. What are your thoughts on the new TSM? Is there a new TSM? Are you talking about I know there's TSM Academy, who they're killing it. They're doing great. I don't know if they're gonna move anybody from TSM Academy to the TSM main roster. I know they have Wardell and Sabrosa. I can't remember who else, if they had anybody else. And maybe Levi. Yeah, they just have Levi, Wardell, Sabrosa. I don't think they've announced anybody else yet. Oh, wait, did they sign Rossi and Corey? People were like rumoring it, I think. I don't know if that's... Oh yeah, they did like pseudo run it. So, I don't know. Is it Corey? Yeah, so it's Sabrosa, Wardell, Leviathan, Corey, Rossi. I think Corey's good. I think Leviathan's good. I think Rossi's all right. Maybe he's gotten really good. But I think that, I don't know, this doesn't have the... It depends on all how they play. To me, I look at this and I don't think this is a championship winning team. I don't think they contend with the top of North American Valorant. I could see them as like an X-set level team. But I don't know, I feel like they need like some more firepower somewhere. Somewhere on their roster, I don't know where. Oh, I should probably share my screen. That's probably my... There we go. That's what I'm looking at. Their new team. Because you look at Leviathan, right? He did pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. They lost to Envy and Rise. They didn't do well in that game. And Rise, he did alright in this game. I think Leviathan's good, especially on Sova. He was doing really well. But I'm like, even like Rise kind of dumpster dumb. And Corey's good, but like, I don't know. Yassine Toufik. I really like TSM as like as an org. I think they can do well. But I wouldn't blindly follow them, if that makes any sense. Boop. There we go. Better or worse than before? I think that... I don't know. I thought they had something going, I'm not gonna lie. When they had Bang and they had Leviathan and they had the other guy. Who did they make the run through Challengers 3 with? Bang, Wardell, Leviathan, Sabrosa, Hayes. I thought that was a crack squad. I like that a lot. I guess Corey's good. Corey's, I think, is the best player on FaZe outside of maybe Baby Bay. But Corey's really good. But holy Christ. I thought Bang was doing so well. I don't know why they dropped Bang so quickly. I don't know, it's weird to me. But, yeah. Corey's a duelist player? Yeah. Indian player? No. SK Rossi's a different guy. There's Rossi, Rossy. It's like Rosie Rossi. I think it's pronounced Rossi. But then there's also SK Rossi, who's the Indian player, who's also actually cracked. I can't remember who he plays for. He plays for a very good team, though. He plays for Global. Yeah. Who he showed up in that one tournament. SK Rossi's really good. I also really want to see Ronski from Australia do well. He's on Peace, or I think they changed their name to Chiefs Esports or something. Anyways. Corey's one of the best players I've ever seen, better than Tens IMO. Interesting. That's an interesting take. Tens has been going through recently, right? He's had his fucking Evangelion moment where he's just like sitting there with his head in his hands. And he's just like having shit tournament after shit tournament. But also he doesn't... I think that's also a bit of a consequence of them not, like, North America not playing to get better. They want to play to win, which is, like, good. But at the end of the day, that's not going to get them to win because they're not getting the practice against other people. They're, like, strat hiding. They're only playing scrims. They don't want to, like, record anything. They're just, like, streaming. They just want to get, like, they want to get big and famous. But I'm like, God damn it. Just play for the win. Play to get better. And, like, do better. Like, because they're doing this more than for just yourself, you know? I think North America, like, really struggles with, like, that concept of, like, doing it for the team. But we'll see how they do. I have one last section for this live stream, not gonna lie, right? I made a list of the best teams of the year, right? I really hope it starts at the last. Best teams of the year. I'm gonna go through this. Because I think that the top 10 teams are very, very contentious for Valorant, right? You have a lot of good teams. You have a lot of great teams. But you have no, like, superpower dominant team. We thought that was going to be the Sentinels. It wasn't. We thought that was going to be Gambit. It wasn't. Is it Ascend? Is it? It's so hard to tell. So I decided to sit down and actually think about this, and I thought I'd drop a list from the end of 2021. What I think the top teams are, taking into account not only the most recent tournament champions, but also like what has happened leading up to it. So I said for honorable mentions, I said G2, 100 Thieves, and VCT. G2 did very well in Berlin, but I think that was more of a penalty of their like strength in the moment. They beat who'd they beat? They beat Sentinels. They beat Sentinels. Great job for the boys, but they kind of got dummied everywhere else. They didn't do very well in the last chance. I'm like, they're good, but they're not the best. I thought I mentioned them at least. 100 Thieves. If 100 Thieves had not lost Steel, and Nitro, and Seven, and Dicey, 100 Thieves would be one of the best teams. They'd probably be like up there, top 5. I think they would have done really well at this tournament. Because keep in mind, who are the finalists from Champions? Ascend, Gambit. Who did 100 Thieves beat last tournament? Ascend, Gambit. So I'm like, God damn it. Like, 100 Thieves would have been so good, especially Hiko looking crisp, Nitro looking so good, Ethan looking one of the best players in the world, Asuna looking like one of the best players in the world, Steel insane IGL. Now he's over at fucking T1. T1, I don't know what to think about T1 anymore. T1's looking really, really good, but we'll see how they do because they've had some struggles in the past. Anyways, yeah, Sentinels did never recover after losing to G2, which kind of sucks. I really like the Sentinels. Let me phrase this. I like the Sentinels as the North American superpower. The people on the team, aside from Hens, it's kind of like, could be better. I also mentioned VCT because I think VCT is that giga team from Brazil, but they can't seem to pull it out when they need it the most. They almost beat Ascend. Or they almost beat Ascend. Did a little too much cheating. Kind of tough. Anyways, let's go into the top 10. At number 10, I have Cloud9 Blue. You kind of saw the first few before. Number 10, I have Cloud9 Blue. Cloud9 Blue, at least the current incarnation of Cloud9 Blue, has only been around for a couple months. And they're one of the only teams to have participated in Tier 2 Valorant North American tournaments. Winning them a lot of the time. Their current roster is what? it's so insane. Especially for being around for so long, they have so much more time to like get into it, right? So they have boom, Leaf, one of the best players in the world, probably going to be one of the best players in the world, like top 5 level in 2022. I'm calling it right now. He is so good. He is top gravy, like some real shit. No, Cloud9 Blue number 10th. The reason I'm putting Cloud9 Blue so low is because they haven't had a lot of time to prove themselves. They've literally been around for 2 tournaments. And I think that, like, even though, who'd they beat? They beat Vision Strikers. That's all they beat. And sure, the one on Vision Strikers is great. It's really good. I think you have to like do more than that to just prove them. I'm still skeptical because they're such a new team. I think there's like such a thing as like a new team kind of coming up and just doing well. So they have Leaf, but Leaf is like a very up and down player. You have Zeppa, who came in at the beginning of this year. He was garbage. I'm not gonna lie, he was pretty garbage. But throughout the year, he has gotten better and better and better and better. And now he's playing on the Jet, and he's playing really hot. But again, he still has some stinker games, right? So Leaf's good, but can have some stinker games. Zeppa's good, but can have some stinker games. Then you have also Vanity. Vanity, very good IGL. I think he's one of the best IGLs in North America. But again, can just have some stinkers. Like, he just does really well until he doesn't. Like, he's good on the shotgun. Sometimes he carries games. But other times, holy, he just, like, goes, like, -20. I don't know why. I think the range of play, though, is, like, reducing, definitely. Except maybe Vanity. But I think having their other 2 players, Zeta's so good. Because Zeta, like, has, at worst, he's never doing the worst on the team, I think. He's very, very rarely doing the worst, and if they do, usually that means everyone else is popping off. Not bad. If everyone else is doing bad, he's fucking top fragging. Well, I guess that makes a lot of sense, but he's always, like, outperforming how he should. Him and Mitch are, like, the 2 anchors of the team, the 2 rocks that really keep the whole squad, like, at their point, right? Yeah, it really is a dice roll. It's a big dice roll to see how they'll play. That's why Cloud9 Blue is number 10. And I think if they continue to prove themselves, I think that Leaf is so good as Kesnet and Scream. I think Leaf might be better than Kesnet, not gonna lie. I think Kesnet is good, but I don't think he's as crazy as people are making him out to be. I think Scream's above Leaf, but I think Leaf can become Scream level next year. I think as early as next year, I think. It'll take him a few years to get, like, into it, but he's getting better and better. Same, it's like him, Asuna are just getting better and better every time they play. And they're on the grind set. Like, Asuna's entering tournaments, even without his team on, like, actually homeless. He's entering, like, 2 tournaments. And yeah, I think Cloud9 Blue is really good. I put them as number 10 because I think that, sure, they have the peaks, but they've had some real bad valleys throughout the whole year this year. Right? They've didn't qualify for, I think, Masters 1. They did shit in Masters 2. They placed 3rd, I think, but after bringing up Vanity, they've, like, been slowly picking up steam, so I put them as number 10 as a kind of a... They should be in the top 10 somewhere. I think they're a top 10 team. And yeah. Next. Boom. I'm putting X10. And I know you might be like, oh, but Cloud9 Blue would beat X10. I don't know. X10, I think, is unfortunate because X10 lost Patty Fan to the Overwatch League. To fucking Overwatch. We lost one to Overwatch. This is absurd. Overwatch does not deserve our players, man. But I'll get to it. X10 looked really good, and they have been one of the top SEA teams throughout the whole year, right? They were qualified for Masters 2, clean as the only SEA representative. They probably should have qualified for Masters 3. The way the pools worked, it was really weird. They didn't make it in because they had to play 3 games. They won 2 and tied the 3rd, and then didn't make it into the bracket. But they were still, like, cleaning house. So either way, X10 has been a very good team. And I think that their consistency means that they'll always be, like, that caliber of team. unfortunately losing Patsy fan. I don't know how they're gonna do. But I think they beat Envy, right? They took a game off Gambit. X10's not a team to fucking sneeze at, right? They've been putting in the work, putting in the torque to keep doing well. They've dominated the region, only losing to like, who'd they lose to? They lost to Full Sense, and they lost to Sharper Esports. I don't know who that is. But overall, X10's a very good team, and I think that they are in the top 10. Thank you, Mike. Without Patsy, I don't know how X10 will really make it. Yeah, that's why I think they're definitely going to drop off, I think, because Patsy really was the lifeblood of that team, I think. He really helped engage the rest. Number 8, Fnatic. Now, this one's kind of hard because Fnatic has had some ups and downs, right? Masters 2, they were looking like the best team from EU with Durka fucking crushing it. But still got 3-0'd by Sentinels. Sure, they beat V1 and they beat Liquid. But then it's like, how good were they at the time, right? So you take that. Then you go Masters 3. They shat the bed. They didn't even make it into playoffs. Even though it was the exact same roster, too. They didn't change anything. They just weren't doing well. And so then they made it into the tournament just because of their second place at Masters 2. And so everyone was being like, oh, shit, how are they going to do? They played a tournament, the Red Bull Homes Grounds 2. They placed 7th, I think. Did they beat anybody of note? I know they lost to Fnatic, cleanly. That's why I was big. Yeah, oh my god. They lost to 10 Star, they lost to Giants, they lost to Liquid. They beat Anubis and FunPlus Phoenix. So I'm going into this tournament, I did not expect a lot from them, right? I think that their wins against Vision Strikers and Cloud9 really gave them the power for this list, because it showed that they were still a good team in the grand scheme, right? Fnatic practiced a lot. Fnatic did practice a lot. I think I'm not gonna lie, that was peak Fnatic. I think Vision Strikers and Cloud9 both weren't playing the best on their day, right? They had some they had some players dropping stinkers, right? Leaf went -12, but when they played at their peak, they still couldn't beat Liquid. They couldn't beat who did they lose to in bracket? They couldn't beat Crew, and I think they made a lot of big mistakes. And so I'm they're a great team. Like I said, 8th in the world. That's pretty good, in my mind at least. But I don't think they're in that top echelon of teams. I'll get into it, but I think the top echelon of teams are from 1 to 5. 1 to 5 are the top. Number 7, I'm going to say Vision Strikers. I had a lot of expectations for Vision Strikers going into the year because Vision Strikers was that talked about team. It's yo, the Korean Giants. And I'm not going to lie, I love watching Vision Strikers play so much. They have such a fun play style. The way they play Valorant, Vision Strikers and Crew play very similar styles of Valorant in specific executes. More their overarching style of Valorant, I think, is very similar. Vision Strikers has more defensive executes, I think, and they have both. But it's also very, very, very map dependent, and if they're off just a little bit, it really goes to show. But when they know where to look and when they know where to aim, they go crazy. Vision Strikers had some dominant games against some of the best teams in the world. And it's really unfortunate they lost to Cloud9 and Fnatic at this tournament. But I also think that they can beat... They haven't had the performance to prove themselves as a top 5, top team. That's why I'm as number 7. But they've proven they can beat the top teams, right? So they beat Ascend. They almost beat Cloud9 Blue. They almost beat Fnatic. They almost beat Gambit. They've had so many close calls while also still beating some of the best teams in the world. They're the most dominant team from Korea, and I think it's not even close. They're number 7 right now, but I really hope to see them in the top 3 next year. I think if they clean up their act in some of these maps and maybe switch around some players, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think the 6-man roster is working. Oh, we'll see it. They're such a good team. Vision Strikers kind of showed how the game might be played in a year. They have the abilities, and they'll probably be the best. Yeah. Vision Strikers is like a future team. I think that their play style is really good, but I think some of their game plans need to be more robust. I think it's a problem of being the best team in like a not the best region. I think if they as they go to more lands, I think they're going to do better and better. And hopefully we'll see them in that like topper echelon. Hopefully we also get more international lands next year, COVID permitting. Omicron, Persei 8 is not looking good right now. But hopefully, as like, you know, hopefully COVID will be going away soon. Everyone's saying that. I think the Omicron might be like the final nail, like the last ditch, the Hail Mary pass by COVID-19 itself to like try to get itself out there. But like, hopefully next year we'll have more international lands where Korea can go and travel. I want to see, dude, I would love to see like a Valorant World Cup so much, where it's like the top teams from every country. I think Korea might just be Vision Strikers. Maybe they throw in like Soldem in there or something. But Vision Strikers, they're so good. I want to see them succeed so much. And just going to the next team, number 6, Envy. I think number 6 is Envy, because again, Envy is good. And they've had some bang up performances, right? For example, Masters 2. Remember Masters 3. They've always been one of the best teams in North America, but they're the best team to have never won anything. They got real close in champions, or non-champions, in Masters 3, losing to Gambit. They did beat Sentinels, and they did beat 100 Thieves. But couldn't beat Gambit. They beat Ascend as well. Wait, Buzz is out? Wait, is Buzz actually out? I'm not sure if that's like confirmed or not. I'm not sure you're just saying that. No, you're just saying that. Yeah, no. Envy's a great team, but I think they just can't pull it off in the 11th hour, and that is their big mistake. Someone was saying in chat earlier, what can Envy do? And I really don't know. I think they have Ye, which is really good. They have Marved, who's insanely good. Maybe like switch up the coach. The coach might be like switching a coach would be good. Maybe replacing Crashies. I think Crashies or Victor. They replace Victor. They need to replace Victor with like a young dude who really, really wants to win. Like imagine like an Asuna or an Asuna level player on that team. Even like Zekin would be insane on Envy. You need a consistent fragger, or even like I don't know. There's so many different ways to do it. Nah, no shot. There's no one signing Sinatra. I don't think anyone's signing Sinatra. I think he's done. I'm not a big Sinatra guy. And yeah, Envy, I think, as I said before, I think the top 5 teams are like championship contending teams, like teams that could win or could have won champions. And I think Envy just doesn't make it, just for the sole reason that they're just struggling, right? If they make 1 or 2 small changes, small tweaks, they could shoot up the list. But as of right now, number 6. Now we're into the top 5, right? Top 5, pretty contentious. I'm not gonna lie. There's gonna be some shit you guys are gonna see, and you're gonna call blasphemy. You're gonna want my head on a stake. You gotta deal with it. Say number 5 is Crew. Now I know Crew just placed 3rd at this tournament, and they beat Sentinels, they beat Fnatic, and they almost beat Gambit. I think that Crew, I've always been a big fan of Crew ever since last year, just because Crew has been the most dominant like team from the LATAM region for a while, and I'm always keeping tabs on Crew. I was like, fuck, they beat Astrals again? Let's go. I think that picking up Kesnet was such a smart idea, because Kesnet's so good. I said before, Kesnet is one of those dudes who's just like top gravy, but I don't think he's built on another level like Scream, but I think he's really, really good. Crew got lucky. See, that's I'm trying to consider what's Crew's position in the Valorant rankings. Because we literally have the two dichotomy right here. We have no shot, but also Crew got lucky. But also Team Secret is top 5. I'm not going to lie, I don't put Team Secret up here. Team Secret, also honorable mention. Team Secret's not top 5 in my opinion. Their improvement was insanely good. But also they didn't improve. They've always been up there. I'm gonna pull up Crew's record, alright? I don't think they deserve top 5. I think they deserve top 5. Because Crew, it's not like Crew has been like shit. Crew has never been shit. And even in like the world scene when it was like Masters 2, Masters 3, when it was all dominated by North America and Europe, Crew was still up there. Look at this. First of all, Crew is one of the only teams to make it to every single Masters and like international LAN. That's one. They've dominated their region. The only team they lose to is Astrals, and even then, fucking the GOATs. So they go to Masters 2. Where is it? Masters 2. Lose to Fnatic, beat Sharks, lose to Liquid. Like, okay. That's a progression, right? They lost to the two EMEA teams. And it was like not great for them. But what do? They go back, they train, they play, they grind. They win again. Beat Zeta Division, lost to Envy. Beat Vivo Keyed, lost to G2. We have to remember, Crew is one of the only teams that wasn't North America, EMEA, or Europe that made it to bracket. There was literally, they pipped out Supermassive Blaze. So it's like, what the fuck? This seems pretty good. Then they do it again. This time they actually squeak out the victories. They lost to Liquid and they beat every fucking one else. Beat Furia, beat Sentinels, beat Liquid, or beat Fnatic. So overall, and almost took it on Gambit. I definitely think there was like, they were playing at their peak then, and I think some of these teams definitely weren't. But I think that Crew is definitely a team that has made some of the most improvements of like over the year. No chance, no way. Kesnet also plays Cypher. He does also play Cypher. Crew was in playoffs at Masters Berlin. Yep, Crew deserves it. They've been pretty consistent. Yep. You could tell that Crew won rounds on a thread. Yes. But also at the end of the day, it's about who wins it. And I think Crew has proved themselves that they're in that upper echelon. Yes, I do have them over Envy and Vision Strikers. That's more of a recency bias thing. But I think that I think they're good. I think they're gonna like keep improving and keep doing better. Because also keep in mind the way they play. I think the way they play is the most important indicator of why they're gonna do well in the future. Because they almost beat these teams not because they would have like single players do crazy things. Of course they did have Kesnet do some crazy things, or Klaus do some crazy things, crazy clutches. But a lot of the time it was their offensive strategies that would just overwhelm even the most like seasoned teams, right? Some of the rounds on Sentinels against Sentinels on Ascent or on Bind, no, not Bind, Split, when they would rush down mid and like they'd have some crazy executes. Even they were like, you can see them like shaking, like what the fuck's going on? Because they were doing some crazy shit. That's when like Crew is that good. I think the way that Crew plays, if they continue to progress the way they play, for the same reason I think that Vision Strikers will go on to become an incredibly good team, I think Crew will do the same. I will say, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I think this list is incredibly close, all the top teams, because there's no big defining big team, right? There's no like, this isn't like, I don't know, T1 in Valorant or Damwon in Valorant or in whatever, right? There's so many good teams. I think that it's not, the game is so fresh, right? It's like in season 1 of League of Legends, if you went out and said that Fnatic was the greatest team of all time because they won season 1 of League of Legends, you'd be sadly mistaken. For the same reason I'm saying even like one team is number 1 or one team is number 2 is just kind of like a very provisional thing. If I say that this team will be the greatest team of all time, then like I better mean it. Anyways. No Astralis. I was going to say Astralis, but they fell off a little bit. I was going to say, who just won? Oh, Was it? No Astralis of Valorant? Not right now, at least. I hope Astralis join Valorant, though. That'd be pretty cool. One sec. It's looking so good. Anyways. Number 4. Sentinels. I have Sentinels up here for kind of the opposite reason of Crew. They have not done super well recently, but I think they have the building blocks to get there. Navi, yeah. Astralis wouldn't even be on a CSGO list now. Yeah, Astralis is not doing well, but Navi's good. Anyways, yeah, Astralis did have the biggest dynasty of all time. I did, yeah, it was crazy. But anyways, I think Sentinels will go on to be one of the best teams, not just because I think they have the opposite problem of Crew, where they have the players, they have some of the best players in the world, but they don't have the strategy to back it. A lot of the times they're winning was because of individual player talents. Dapper, insane. Ten's one of the best players in the world. Still say that. Shazam, one of the best IGLs. Maybe needs some work, though. He still frags out. I think that Zoms is good. I like that someone trash talks in Valorant, but like, there's better players. There's better players out there. Sentinels, if you're listening. As well, Six also really good. I think Six is very underrated because he's teammates with Shazam and Tens. I think that if they get their head, like, they got too much in, like, too caught up in the fact that they're the best and like no one could beat them. And it's not that they weren't trying, but I think they weren't doing their best to push forward in the meta because like they thought that they were the meta. I personally think that it's gonna start going towards more execute focused than, like, not specifically execute focused, but more like specific, like more in-depth utility usage than just like the single one-off usages, like having Hiko bait, right? Or having just doing a bunch of shit. Sense choked. Yeah, they were up 8-4 every match before they lost. I think Sentinels was not playing hot this tournament, like, at all. But they were still able to compete with some of the best teams. They, like, they almost beat Liquid. They almost beat Crew. Or they lost. I guess they almost lost to both of them is what they just did, right? Everyone has had to accept Tens? For sure. I think, personally, my take on Sentinels, I like Tens. I don't like anyone else. Like, but then again, I kind of like the idea of, like, having this, like, I like more personalities in esports, especially, like, who else be out here shit-talking? It's just, like, Sentinels. And so if they are really good again and they're still shit-talking, then, like, hey, power to them. I kind of like that. It's like a low-tier god. I don't personally like the guy, but I think he's really funny, and I think he's good for fighting games. Anyways, I think Sentinels, they need to do some work, but I think they could go on to do some great stuff. Yeah. Top 3. All right. Another questionable move from me. I'm putting Team Liquid, right? Team Liquid, I had winning this tournament. I had them or Sentinels. Neither of which did. But Team Liquid was looking so good, especially leading up to the tournament. I think that Team Liquid is... their roster is really good, especially with, like, Link, Navera. Keep in mind, Navera's only been around for, like, 2 tournaments, right? If they keep playing, I think they go on to do even better. They lost to a top-tier Ascend, which, to be fair, they have beaten Ascend before. They beat Ascend, like, 2 weeks before Champions, so power to them. They beat Ascend, they beat Fnatic. But I think they have a little bit more work to do to prove themselves going forward. I think next year, they're another team who can win the first Invitational. Again, I think any of those top 5 teams, with the work that Crew's putting in, if Sentinels were to reinvent themselves, if Liquid just keeps doing what they've been doing, they're on the trajectory to fucking winning this. Because they're doing so well. I thought Teal Gambit would have been the grand finals. Me too. I thought that Gambit... We'll go into this. So number 3 is Liquid. Number 2, I have Ascend. I have Ascend at number 2. The winners of Champions is number 2 in 2021. Now, this might not make a lot of sense, but for me, I thought Ascend was playing super duper hot, right? This past tournament. But this is the first time they've done so. They have, up till now, they were the European envy. They were the best team to have never won anything, right? They actually, did they win Masters 1? Actually, I haven't checked this before. Let me check this up right now. Did Ascend win Masters 1? Because Ascend's been always a top team in EU Valorant. They did win Masters 1. Okay, so they won Masters 1. Poggers. But going to Masters 2, they shut the bed. They lost to... Who'd they lose to? They lost to a couple teams. Ninjas of Pajamas. They lost to Vitality. They didn't even make it into the playoffs. So it's like, goddamn. Feels bad for them. But if they're really this like giga threat, they lost to Supermassive Blaze. They lost to Gambit. They lost to Vision Strikers. They lost to 100 Thieves. They just kept getting like dummied on. Time and time again. They lost to Liquid again. I think they have proven themselves as one of the top teams more than just like a pseudo-best team. And I think winning Champions has definitely lent them some more points in my favor. But I still think that Gambit is the best team in the world 2021. For one reason, and that is because Gambit struggled this tournament. They did not play, aside from their game against Ascend, which I did think was very good, very close. These guys actually switched back and forth. Ascend have the number on Gambit. Ascend has beaten Gambit a number of occasions. I think just their one-to-one matchup is not as good. But Gambit kept it so close and almost actually won it with that map 4 victory. I think that Gambit, the players on Gambit have really stepped it up. The same way that the Ascend players have, right? I was talking about Starkso, Zeke, CNED are all looking really good. Bone Cold, he's pretty good. Kill S, they're probably going to replace him. Even though he's good, I think they're going to replace him. I think they should replace him. Feels bad for the kid, but there's really good talent around. Gambit has fucking shooters on their team. Nats, Chronicle, Defo, Shados, Redgar. Each of them have like something that is really going good for them. I think Redgar, when the weakest player on the team is Redgar, and like maybe Shados, that's a fucking great team. They have such a solid defense. They're one of the only defensive-based teams in the world. Everyone else is very, very offensive-focused. I think their incredible defense is what won them so many of their games. Because even when they're playing like shit, they can just slow it down and reset. And that's what they did against Crew. That's what they did against Ascend. Anytime they played on Breeze, they fucking crushed people. I have to work on their bind for sure. And yeah, dude, Nats' Cypher lockdowns or Viper lockdowns are absolutely insane. It's so good. Gambit does have the clutch gene. I think literally it got beaten into them after they lost to 100 Thieves. Oh, that feels so bad when they lost to 100 Thieves. But yeah, they really stepped it up in this last tournament. And I think winning so many games from the behind is like the Mango effect. It's like you have to give them an extra couple points just because they kept it so close so often, and they're putting in the work, they're putting in the twerk. Overall, great team. This is my top 10 Valorant teams of 2021. Let me know what yours are. I think people will have different opinions. A lot of people have different ways of looking at what has happened this past year, like what you take into, not account, but like what you take into weight the most. I think Champions is definitely the most weight, but I also think Berlin has a good component to that and some of the tournaments in between. Sentinels has proven themselves time and time again. It's only when they struggle. They've struggled recently in the past couple months. Top 5 matches list of the year of Champions. That's hard. I think there's a difference between the best best in terms of like a storyline versus best gameplay. If I were to go through champions, if I were to look at champions right now, who would I say had the best matches? Let me see. Liquid Sentinels was one of the best matches by far. It was so good. That was in the bracket. Okay. Liquid Sentinels, Sentinels Envy, or sorry, Sentinels Crew, Crew Fnatic, Crew Gambit, Gambit Ascend. Those are probably my top. Oh, actually, no, not Gambit Ascend. I'm going to put Fnatic. No, Cloud9 Blue. No, I'm going to go Fnatic versus Vision Strikers. Because each of those matches had a lot of stakes and also had, like, it was such a roller coaster of emotions the whole game. More than just they had some amazing rounds and amazing executes. But I think that overall the games were just so spicy. Holy fuck. Crew vs. Gambit Bind. That was crazy. Crew vs. Gambit Bind was who would not lose. Because both teams have terrible binds. Both teams have absolutely abysmal binds. Gambit got 13-0'd by Ascend on bind. Crew got like 13-3'd by Fnatic, I think. Something crazy like that. But yeah. Great. Overall, not bad. The champions had an absolutely crazy fucking set of matches. But yeah. My top 10 Valorant teams of the year. I think that is it for the live stream. I appreciate everyone who came through. Hopefully, again, I'm going to be working on more videos over the next coming months. Trying to get a better stream. Doing this stuff and being in school is very hard to manage at the same time. But I think that, honestly, it's going to get easier. Course 13 2'd by Sentinel Bond. Yeah. They have a bad bond. But anyways, I want to thank you, everyone, for coming out. It means a lot to me. And I think that hopefully the content machine will keep running. And have a good time. Follow me on Twitter. Join my Discord. I can probably actually toss this in the group chat if somebody actually wants to join. Whoop. Actually, I won't toss the Discord in. You can find that literally in my videos. But Twitter's easy to just copy and paste. Lol. Which is the best team on bind? Couldn't tell you. Maybe Sentinels. Sentinels is a pretty good bind. Maybe... I don't know. Maybe Ascend. I saw that, I'm pretty sure Conquerors and OCE got their own official circuits, which is pretty cool. I think they're being a part. I'm going to make a bit more of a preview of next year video as well. Probably going to come in the next couple days, where I talk about some of the teams to look out for, as well as some of the new format stuff. Look out for that. Anyways, I'm going to actually take this VOD and turn it into its own mini series videos over the next coming days, just so it's easier to consume for the casual Andy. But I appreciate you guys for sticking through this. The VOD will be open later. And I hope you had a great time. Thank you for joining me. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye. All right, hold up. I got to figure out how to turn this off now easily. Bye.